I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, the Conscoast over here.
Gavin Franklin.
And guys, we are here this week to preview Deathfire by Nick Kyme. And we are back with some Salamanders. This is basically the continuation of Unremembered Empire.
For the
mixed with Vulkan Lives, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. It's a must read. I know we're kind of already getting into this, but like it is it makes me excited for Old Earth.
I don't know if I am.
Which is not a short story compilation. It is a
Nope, it is not.
Yeah.
Yep. Before we get too far into the book, though, as always, we have our socials. Join the Discord. It's a lot of fun. I found out I have a weird voice, so that's where that came from.
You have a weird voice?
That's one of the people that joined goes, Dylan, are you the one with the weird voice? And I was like, I mean, there's only two of us, so there's a 50% chance. Damn, I wasn't expecting this, but I probably.
Wow, I've been listening to you talk for years. I've never had a problem.
Well, I appreciate it. But yeah, get on that. You can find that pinned to our Twitter at the top at Heresy Lodge. You can email us at theheresiolodge@gmail.com. Hit us up on the YouTube. Like, subscribe to our videos. That's it. Those are our things. Oh, we have tips enabled on Twitter. Feel free to do that.
Oh, you know what? I just realized. The guy's totally right.
Shitty boys. Sounds like ass. Get this guy off the episode.
Turned it on and was like, he listened to you squeak a couple times because it's definitely happened.
That guy's balls still haven't dropped. How old is he? Like 30?
All good though. What are you drinking this week?
Oh man, you're gonna make fun of me.
I'm ready.
I am drinking mom water, lemon blueberry, named Karen.
What the hell? Where did you get that?
The store. Alex had heard good things, so she got a case. Is it a
seltzer?
So it is a kinda, but it's not carbonated. It's a vodka like thing.
Doesn't make any sense to me. The way you just described doesn't sound like a seltzer.
It tastes like water. I'm not even kidding. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like alcoholic flavored water.
Interesting.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
For those of you who don't know, it's a strange background. I am in Colorado right now. I am in Denver. It was really funny. Trainwreck, I think, was messaging about coming to beat me up. He's like, I'm going to get a plane ticket to Indiana. I'm like, first off, I don't even live in Indiana anymore. And I'm on the other side of the country. But I didn't tell him that because he would probably just change the flight. I went to a meadery here in Denver, and it's called Honeybrook Craft Meadery. So they have, I think, 25 different meats.
Oh, that sounds like a good time.
5. So, of course, like with Katie, too, every time we go somewhere that's like a winery or a meadery or even less so a brewery because she doesn't like beer, she likes to get all the flights. So we got flights and we didn't realize that they were like big ass flight pours. So we had 16 basically half glasses of wine. It was a good time. I just wanted to taste mead, but at the end of the day, I was in for a different experience. I'm drinking it's called cucumber lime. This was one of the 5 I wasn't going to taste, and then the person taking the order was like, "No, you should probably taste that one," and it's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, it's it doesn't taste like cucumber, and it doesn't taste like lime. It just tastes like a very refreshing mead.
It tastes like nothing but mead, and it's great.
Tastes like water.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. This literally tastes like lemon blueberry water. That is 4.5%. Like I could honestly see this being dangerous just because it doesn't taste like anything.
This is a huge ass can, and I can confirm it is dangerous.
So yeah, I have tiny hands, so no matter what's in my hand, it looks big.
Dylan, I have a secret for you. I have a secret. Did you know? Vulkan lives.
Vulkan lives?
Vulkan lives. They said it, what, 75 to 175 times in this book?
No. Fallen looked it up.
Get out
It
of
was
town.
like 275.
Oh my gosh.
I could probably pull it up on the Discord real quick, but I'm pretty sure it was either 200 or 300.
I want to spoil something for you guys. Vulkan lives. He's on the cover of
Wait
other
a minute.
books. And it's
Wait a
literally
minute.
the title of another one. It's so ridiculous. So this story, what is the name of this book? Deathfire?
Deathfire.
We find out in the very beginning, it is also another spoiler, but whatever. Numian. Numian. I wish it was Nimiel,
Yeah.
but it's not. Numian survived Vulkan lives, which is a problem for me, but I'll get back to that later, maybe in the next episode. And he makes it back to Makarage, finds Girly Man and the Lion, and finds out that his Primark is dead, but he refuses to believe it. If you remember from Vulkan Lives, he's like super obsessed with Vulkan Lives. Like he says it a lot there too, but he's obsessed with the idea that his Primark's alive. So they go on like a journey, all the salamanders that are left, to basically bring Vulkan's body back to the planet of Nocturne. And there are really only like 3 main plot points here. You know, you have that plot point, their journey, and then you have kind of the plot point that is beat to death with a hammer, which is whether or not the salamanders, all of the salamanders, believe that Vulkan lives.
Well, kind of.
It's like a religious thing, though. Like Numian is trying to convince them to have faith that Vulkan is alive.
Yes.
And that is a plot point that is discussed constantly. You know, it's like every other chapter. No, probably more than that. I'd say every chapter almost, you get a conversation between 2 salamanders. One claiming that Vulkan is still alive and will be redeemed, and another stating that that's impossible, that's against the imperial truth. And my God, it's a conversation that I'm glad they're not going to have anymore.
I'm still looking for it. It's around the area. Oh my gosh.
So those are the 2. Those are 2 big plot points. You have like the religious aspect, them returning Vulkan's body. And then
314 times.
Get the fuck out of here.
That is how many times Vulkan lives was mentioned. 314 times.
Wow. Well, Vulkan lives.
I think so.
I think so. I think Vulkan lives. My goal is to beat that number on this podcast.
Does Vulkan live?
Vulkan lives. Yeah, so the third one is kind of an interesting one, kind of a really weird one, and it is with Narek.
Yes. I have no idea what the hell they're doing with that character.
So this like made me question so many things. I was very confused by this. If you guys don't recall, Narek was introduced in Vulkan Lives. Add one to the tally.
Damn, we should have started one.
Well, maybe we'll get somebody. If somebody's listening, maybe you can like go back now and start a count. We'll see what happens. Maybe we can breed the Vulkan Lives count in Vulkan Lives. No, not Vulkan Lives in Deathfire. See how I just snuck in 3?
Oh, sneaky little bastard.
Did it on purpose. But we were introduced to Narek in Vulkan Lives, and he was the like badass word bearer. He basically replaced Argal Tall for me.
Yeah. Yeah, easily. He's the only other one that has like any fucking brains.
He kind of hated the word bearers for being weird.
Yeah, he was like, you guys are way too fucking much. I like the OG word bearers. And like, they were still kind of meh, but I'll take it.
That's true. That's something that like people don't talk about with Narek is like, he's still a word bearer. Like, he's not like, this is weird as shit. He's like, this is weird. I'd rather praise the Emperor.
Yeah, he's like, I don't like this word. I like the other word that we had.
which was still annoying, but better than what it is now.
Yeah, less annoying, I think.
He was like, I was really into like building temples to the emperor and saving people on planets, but you guys have horns growing out of your head. I feel like that's not where I want to go in the future.
You guys smell like ass. This is weird. I'm not a fan of this.
As the series goes on, you have like Garo and the Knights Errants and then Narek here. We're finally realizing that you can kind of just like choose sides like it's a job title or something. Sorry, I just don't think that I'm a fit for this company anymore.
Well, I don't blame them. There's some weird shit that happens. Like, could you imagine being like the only normal person on the Emperor's Children ship? God damn it.
Yes, it's super strange because I'm like, there would be so many more people. Like, just the concept that Narek can abandon the word bearers means that at least half of them should.
Well, they were probably, sacrificed already for the greater good.
So Lorgar made the statement, though, that none of the word bearers betrayed him. The only ones that he needed to kill were the ones he sent to Calth because he thought that they were too obsessed with killing the Ultramarines.
Then you
And
have just
then
Narek like, not me. I'm not the guy.
fucking weird. And then like Lorgar goes and kills a bunch of Ultramarines. No, it's not because I'm jealous. I just so happened to invade your part of space. I don't know. It's weird.
You're
Yeah,
in
I'm
my
gonna
fucking way. Gotta
do a
do
big
shit
work.
to make Angron weird.
Yeah, which we now know was not the plan. And
No.
Lorgar was full of shit.
Yeah. So much for listening to the fucking chorus or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm getting like a song. I'm getting the song thing, Magnus. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, that's why I'm here.
You left the fucking radio on, Lorgar. Of course you hear fucking music.
So Derek is also on Makarage. If we remember in Vulkan Lives, he tries to get a hold of the anatheme. I had to go back and look at this because I want to talk a little bit more about this in the next episode. But goddamn, this storyline is confusing as fuck. So Narek goes back to Ultramar, to Makarage, tries to steal the anatheme from John Grammaticus.
You mean the Fulgurite?
Yes. It is an anatheme, but it's like a holy anatheme.
Yeah, we gotta know we gotta keep it, right. The
because there's only
Fulgurite.
2 anathemes out there, or something like that. And it's definitely not the anatheme, because that is at Fabius Bile's workshop, or is it split into shards from Erebus? I don't know.
Could be any.
So he is after the Fulgurite, after John. He wants to go use the Fulgurite to kill Lorgar, which is cool.
Yes. A+ move there.
Yeah. And then John got contacted by Eldrad Ulthuan and is like, hey, instead you should use the Fulgurite to stab Vulkan. And that will restore his memory, is what Eldrad said.
Yes.
And
which is this whole storyline makes me so confused by like the end of this book, because like the whole time, like, what the fuck did John even do then?
So this is what's weird about this. Okay. So we do kind of have to kind of recap the story from Unremembered Empire. So Vulkan Lives. He's being tortured by the Night Haunter, who's getting really upset because every time Vulkan is supposed to die, Vulkan lives. And he ends up on clicking a teleporter on his hammer, gets transported to Makarage. They think he's dead because he's just a pile of ash, but Vulkan lives. And he comes back to life, but he's insane. And that's like a big plot point in Unremembered Empire.
Yeah, and it's really weird because like he's just like beating his head against the wall. He's like a crazy like psych patient until Conrad gets there. And he's like, oh, I must hunt Conrad, but I can only hunt Conrad. It's like a fucking not a barbarian, dumber than that. Neanderthal.
I think that's the way. Neander.
Neander.
I don't know. I think it depends.
Either way, that's about what his brain function is like, and he's literally just like going around trying to find Conrad, which is really weird how you can just sense Conrad.
Yeah, they don't really explain that too much. I think he's just like crazy and hates Conrad because Conrad killed him so many times. But if
It's
you remember,
perpetual, and he has a map to Conrad. And those are his powers.
what's weird about it is like the end of Vulkan Lives, he kind of just didn't give a shit about Conrad.
No, and
He told Conrad off. He was like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit about you. Bye."
yeah, why he's like so like fucked up didn't make sense to me either. Unremembered Empire, like sure, I guess he went through a fucking planet's atmosphere, but Conrad did some really fucked up shit to him. I think he would have been all right.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember in Vulkan Lives, he dies like 25 times.
At least.
That we know of, that were written about. Yeah, so this fight is actually really important. So Conrad also makes his way to Mekarage, and basically this is you ready? Put tinfoil hat time, but this is actually the story. It's very weird. In Vulcan Lives, John is sent to the planet where the word bearers are by the Cabal in order to retrieve the Fulgurite, and he does, and then he uses Numian in order to get protection. But it turns out the Cabal are working with the traders, which we kind of knew because they think that the traders need to win really hard in order for Chaos to lose, right?
Yep.
So John messes with like Numian's eye with this like ring at the end of Vulcan Lives, and he gets help from Erebus, which is like a really crazy moment. And then he is transported to Mekarage. What happens though is he's starting to have a moral conflict about whether or not what he's doing is correct because he feels like he should be fighting for the loyalist side and not the traitor side. And it kind of seems like the Cabal is really rooting for the Primordial Annihilator, which they say they hate. And that's very true. It's super weird what they're doing. Then he gets contacted by Eldrad Oathwand, who actually contacted him in Vulcan Lives. It was just kind of confusing. We now know it's Eldrad Oathwand. And Eldrad is like, hey, instead, because apparently John's mission now is to give the Fulgurite to Conrad Kurz, and Conrad Kurz is going to use it to kill Vulcan. And Eldrad Oathwand is like, hey, instead, you should use it to kill Vulcan because you're a perpetual. And when a perpetual uses the Fulgurite, it should restore his memory. Weird.
Yeah. And again, why the hell did he randomly lose his memory?
Yes, and at the same time, the Cabal is starting to sense that John has some like misguided loyalties. So they sent this guy, another perpetual named Damon, down to make sure he's on track. And then Narek kidnaps John. Damon rescues him. They go to the fight between Conrad and Vulcan because eventually they do confront each other. But then Narek shows up again. Okay, now I had to recap this fight. It's very. I actually went back and reread this fight because I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, what actually happened?" I couldn't remember. Conrad Kurz knocks out Narek.
Yep.
Damon almost dies to Conrad, but he unleashes a demon.
Yeah, he captured at the beginning of the book.
That he captures at the beginning of the book that teleports Conrad away. And then John Grammaticus uses the spear and kills Vulcan.
Yes, but somehow offers up his life energy.
Yes. So Damon drags John Grammaticus out of there. And then John Grammaticus wakes up and they're like, this is your last life, whatever that means. Right, this is some weird shit. Which leaves the only person at the scene of the crime, Narek, who did not kill Vulcan.
And gets arrested.
He gets arrested by the Ultramarines and interrogated by Girly Man and his psyker. And Narek's basically saying, like, no, like, I love the Emperor. Like, I'm still, like, super hard about that. And they don't
like,
believe him.
super hard.
Yeah. And that's kind of like where Narek ends up, is this, like, torture chamber. And then his story gets really weird in this book.
Yeah, it definitely took a turn. And I still don't know what he's doing.
Or what other people are doing regarding him.
Yes. And I don't know what the goal is. Because I remember at one point when we first met Narek, like Trainwreck had messaged me, he thought it was like this dreadnought on McCreeg that's a word bearer. I don't know, because he's not there. He's not on McCreeg anymore. He's in fucking Nocturne.
Yeah, he is on Nocturne. Also, a question about Narek's story. Who the hell? Look, I think we know, but I don't know. It's like the ladder of command in the word bearers goes up like 20 steps, apparently.
I don't know who is in charge of anything.
So Narek was working for this guy named Elias in Vulkan Lives, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And he kills Elias.
Yep.
And then at the end of Vulkan Lives, I don't remember what happens. Numion gets captured by some word bearer, and that word bearer dies, and then like his boss is trying to kill Narek. He's called the Preacher, but then he also has this other word bearer named Daggett. Daggett or something.
Daggett. There's Zahoot Soul or whatever his name is.
Yeah, and Daggett is like, I need to kill Narek, and it's like, you have no idea. I have no idea who this guy is. Are we supposed to know?
He might have been at Vulkan Lives.
Do we have the books? Do we have the book? I don't have either of those.
I have the book downstairs.
Do you have Deathfire?
I have Deathfire right in front of me, yeah.
Okay. Why don't we go through the cast list?
There's a lot.
It is so. I didn't have the book, which was very confusing for the first half of the book because they don't give you a cast list, obviously, in an audiobook.
Yeah. All right, so I'll go down the Primarks first. We have Sir Sanguinius, who we know is currently in charge of Imperium Secundus, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't get a super large amount. I think we get one line from him.
Yeah, it's very short. We have Roboute Gilman, of course, Lord of Ultramar. We have the Lion, who's the Lion, of course.
Oh, he's doing dumb lion shit in this book.
Always, yep. We have Vulkan, who's literally a dead body the whole time, which is
he lives.
Fun. Yes, he does live.
Vulkan does live.
We have Rogel Dorn, and who's not listed on here, we have a surprise of Magnus the Red.
Wait, we have Rogel Dorn?
Yeah, his voice message, and that's it. I don't know why they put him on the cast list for that, but that's what they did.
Magnus, yeah, surprise. The surprise of Magnus. I can't wait to have that conversation because I thought it was very strange.
Very strange. Next, I'll go into the Salamander. So we have our main character with Artellus Numion.
So he's a pyre guard. If you guys remember from Vulkan Lives, he's basically like the bodyguard of...
Yeah, he's the pyre captain. Mm-hmm. And he's the equerry.
Yeah, so he's like Vulcan's like main guy.
Mm-hmm. So, and they talk about this in the book too. Like, he's technically the leader of the Salamanders based off of rank.
Yes.
Next, we have Nomis Ryton. He is, they call him the voice of fire and keeper of the keys. He's that chaplain at the end on Nocturne.
Yeah, he's the head chaplain. So, yeah. Very similar to Nimiel. But I think he's like higher up in the ranks.
Yeah, he doesn't get beheaded by his Primarch, probably.
I'm assuming we're going to see more of him in Old Earth.
Yeah, I could see that. If not, maybe like a short story or something.
Yeah, he seems to be like an important character to the Salamanders.
That would be a cool short story. Like, what the fuck is going on like the home planets of these places?
Yeah, like what is going on at Nocturne? Because I'm telling you what, dude, there's no fucking Salamanders left. Like, I was expecting...
Even the planet doesn't fuck with the Salamanders.
Yeah, I was expecting at least, like, a few thousand. Nah.
Man, I want to know why we had to read about the fucking Dark Angels in Caliban. I would fuck with them over what happens on Nocturne any day. Not only do they have fucked up animals, but the fucking planet is, like, destroying them.
Yeah.
Like it's miserable.
Yeah. Nocturne.
Like, yeah, we don't ride our tanks around because bad things happen if we do that.
No, don't get in the tank. Don't get in the tank. Yeah, they have like storms that randomly happen to where like, okay, everybody in the city, you have to get in the city right now or you're just gonna die.
Yeah, this is it. I don't even know how like civilians live there. Very curious about that.
Yeah.
Next on the list, we have Vestus Varkir. He is the chaplain.
Yeah, another chaplain. So he's actually on Makarage when the story picks up, and he's kind of the one that's kind of doing like the chaplain shit for ever since Vulkan died, but we know Vulkan lives. Kind of like going through helping the sorrowness of the salamanders that are on Makarage.
Yeah, and he's also one of the people that's like, it's like, look, Nubian, Vulcan's dead. Kind of got to get over it.
Yep, he's one of the people that Numian has constant conversations with about whether or not Vulkan is alive or dead.
Yeah, he's always staring into the fire. That's his thing. Next is Ushaman, who is our librarian. I liked Ushaman. He was cool.
Yeah, Ushaman is kind of cool. I think he's a bit of an interesting character. He's kind of described. I don't know. I do like the way he is, but I think he was more of a tool. You know what I mean, for the author, like having a librarian there. But it was cool.
I just love librarians. I think they're cool. I wish we saw more of them doing cool shit.
Yeah.
Next we have. I want to kind of lump these two together. Orn and Rond. They were just kind of there.
Couple of salamanders.
Yeah, they were the ones that helped defend the genitarium, I think. Okay. Next we have Rakor Zathan.
Zathan.
He's your resident hothead.
Yeah, super big hothead. He is a big fan of wanting to kill things, and he is the most adamant person against the concept of Vulkan living. He just doesn't give a shit anymore. He's just ready to kill.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. He's like, I just want revenge. Don't give a fuck. Let's just kill everything.
He has this cool like concept about him though, where he wears like 16 weapons.
Yeah.
He's got like weapons coming out of his knees and shit. There's like just swords everywhere. But he's like a pretty good fighter, I feel like. Apparently not as good as
not good enough.
Not good enough.
Yep. Next, I'm just gonna lump all these guys together because I don't remember either of them. We have Baduk, Karak, Ugarna, Zadar, all pyro class.
Yeah.
They're all under Zathan.
Yeah, they all work for Zathan.
Next, we will go with Barak Zytos.
Zytos, yeah.
Yeah, Zytos.
He's like second in command, right?
I think so, technically.
Yeah, so he is constantly struggling because Numian is like very obsessed with Vulkan living because Vulkan lives.
He does live.
And Zytos is really trying to force Numian to take a leadership role, but Numian is just obsessing over Vulkan's body. That's kind of like, it's kind of falls to the same storyline of like, do we focus on Vulkan lives? Do we focus on revenge? Like, where do the salamanders go? They're having a big identity crisis, and Zytos is really pushing Numian to like move away from the Vulkan lives thing, and it's interesting.
Yeah, and like there's several times where he's like, what's the command leader, or what's the whatever, and he's like, you lead the men, they're your men. He's like, you are our fucking captain, god damn it. Do your job. Several guys under him, a couple of them that we actually kind of hear more from is Abademi and Gargo.
So Gargo is a really interesting one. Gargo is a dude that's lost his arm, and he's a blacksmith.
Yeah.
So he reforges a lot of their armor. And one thing I think is interesting about salamanders is they're very decorative with their armor.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it kind of makes sense because they're all craftsmen.
Yeah.
We have Dakar, Farron, Kadir, Marak, Ungan, Vorko, Zorn. The rest of the ones that are under Zytos.
Zorn is an important one. He's the Tech Marine.
Yep. No, it's Zahn. Zahn is second.
Zahn, okay.
Yep, he's my next one. Farkor Zahn. Also an annoying voice on the audiobook. He like really tried to like make it robotic. I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I think it was interesting because there's a small little story arc with him a little bit about how like he's a salamander and they're supposed to value humanity and life, but he's also a tech marine. And one thing that I think is very annoying about the tech marines is they're written in two different ways. Either they are mechanicum or they are still fully legionaries.
Yeah, who are just good with their hands.
And this guy is definitely mechanicum.
Yeah, cares more about the logical. He's very not Iron Fist. The ones that we actually like. Iron Warriors esque with like it's all about the whatever makes sense to him.
Yeah, I think that if you compare this, do you remember? I think it's Fallen Angels, the tech marine that's with Nemiel.
Yeah,
he's like a human tech marine. Like has conversations, does everything, but then you move into this guy, very different.
And then you have the actual Iron Hands, and you're like, God damn it!
The actual Iron Hands are just
nightmares. Next, we have our shipmaster, Colo Addison. He is an interesting character. He also, I'll just go to mention Circe maybe, the Navigator. They are a piece.
So what's his name? How do you pronounce it?
Addison maybe. Addison.
So Addison is how it was pronounced in the
Yep, that's
audiobook.
it. That's probably it.
And what I think is interesting is I think that this book, for a part of it, Nick Kyme was trying to write it very similar to the Odyssey.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever read the Odyssey.
I've seen the movie.
Yeah, it's like Odysseus is the like main character, and it's about his journey back home.
Yeah.
Right from a war front, and all of the various things that they come in contact to along the way. I think it was supposed to be very similar to that, and that's what this book is kind of like. He probably like, okay, this is the storyline of the book. That sounds really familiar to the Odyssey, and then he puts in someone like Odysseus, to represent like the main character. Yeah, he does have this romantic relationship with the Navigator, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I also thought it was very interesting because I don't think the Navigators are like allowed to get married and stuff. And if they are, it's like very like important.
Yeah, I think they definitely are allowed to get married because they have to like their house, right?
Right,
Yeah,
but I think it's like very like noble-esque type of deal.
Or it's incestual. I could see that.
I could see that as well.
But another thing I thought was weird was it described Circe as like a very old woman.
Yes.
And I did not get that from Odysseus.
I didn't either.
And obviously Circe is not actually old. If you guys like look into the Navigator, she's probably his age, but they age very fast because of the amount of time they spend looking into the warp.
Yeah. And kind of just like a little plot point. And they tried to have a child. They had the child, and it passed.
So is that what happened? Was that between him and Circe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was very lost on that. For one point in time, I thought that they were just like good friends and he was a good captain trying to watch after his crew. And then I was like,
this dude's fucking his crew.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Next, we have the Lieutenant, Erik Gulero. Don't remember Erik at all. I know the next one, like Lysa Asinzi, because she ends up becoming.
Yeah. So that's the chain of command.
Yeah.
And you have Erik Gulero, who's basically like the second in command. He is important for a little bit. Then you have a Senzi. And so you kind of get to feel the sense that, like, okay, if they name 3 people in the chain of command.
Yeah, yes. Also, I think somebody didn't mention Addison. He is a follower of Dulcetito Divinatus.
So most of them are.
Yes. Yeah,
Cersei
because
is,
Cinzi actually has
Addison.
the bracelet or necklace. It was a necklace that she gave to Numan at one point.
Senzi, yeah, the Lecto Divinicus definitely comes in. It's interesting to see how the salamanders interact with it. It kind of
They
seems
just
like,
ignore it. Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's
like
fine.
they're like, we have got way more important shit to deal with.
Vulkan lives, and we gotta get home.
Vulcan lives. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like at one point though, you have to think because Numian basically says in this book that the imperial truth is a lie.
Yeah.
And I think the people that grasp the Vulcan lives concept and the Vulcan lives mantra are all like, yeah, the Emperor might be God.
It wouldn't surprise me at this, but we've seen some shit.
Yeah, I mean Vulcan lives, right? So
Yeah.
because if you believe that at this point, then you kind of already turned your back on the Imperial truth.
Yeah.
Kind of though. It's very strange because the Salamanders and Gilliman and everybody also do recognize the fact that Vulcan comes back to life.
Yes.
Um,
It's fine though.
but this time they're like, it's super permanent.
Yeah, there's no way it's coming back this time.
We have no idea what the Fulgurite is or what it does, but it's super permanent.
Also, one thing, why did a Primark try taking it out?
I don't know.
I feel like if anyone should have tried, it should have been a fucking Primark.
Well, what happens later with the Fulgurite is very weird.
It's all very weird. I don't understand. Like, why doesn't it come out?
Because I think you, at one sense, I think you're kind of right because I feel like a Primark, based off of what we know later in the book, would have been able to remove it.
And if not a Primark, perhaps the Emperor could.
Wow, now you're just thinking.
I mean, I think I could have chopped off the last 100 pages of this book.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I could have not had this book.
Damn.
The Gilman's like, wait, let me take care of that real quick. Rips it out. He comes back. Sweet, we're
Vulkan
good.
lives. All right. Next, we have a host of Ultramarines. Because guess what? We started on Ultramar, so we gotta have a bunch of Ultramarines. We have Titus Prado. He is the one that is interrogating Narek.
The psyker, the head psyker of the Ultramarines.
Yep.
The Ultramarines have decided, hey, fuck the council in IKEA. Let's just do it.
Imperium second or Secundus doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it is interesting because all 3 of the legions that are on McCrag have previously to even arriving at McCrag said like,
it's fine.
It's fine.
No
it's
biggie.
Okay.
Vulkan lives.
As a matter of fact, the Lion beheaded somebody just so he could use psychers.
Next we have Valentius. I think he was also part of the interrogation stuff with Narek. I think he was like the one overseeing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next we got our boy Thiel.
Thiel, he's back. He's back.
He's back. He's still a badass, but he lost his sword.
It's fine.
Yeah, it is fine.
One thing I think is super annoying, because if we remember in Unremembered Empire, Gilliman gets an assassination attempt on him by someone who's dressed as Thiel, which to me, I don't know why we didn't discuss this during then, is hilarious because I have absolutely no idea how the Alpha Legion, and they are the Alpha Legion, so I'm giving them a lot of leeway. But I have absolutely no idea how the Alpha Legion would have known that Thiel and Girly Man were cool.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Like they were cool for like 20 minutes.
They were super cool, and word got around.
Word got around, I guess. They were like, that Thiel guy.
Hey, man.
Like each other.
Gilman might be stuck in his dick. I don't know yet.
Yeah, apparently it was a very close relationship. The Alpha Legion got a whiff of it, and they were like, we can use that. And so now, though, since he returned from Calf, because that's a decision you can make.
Just gotta get picked up.
Yeah, you just need to
Gotta
have.
catch the ferry.
Who wrote? Was it Nick Kyme that wrote that
Yeah, it was
story?
Nick Kyme that wrote
You just
the
gotta
story.
have Nick Kyme want to have you in one of his books, and he'll sign that letter.
Look, I'll just come pick you up. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. So he has like a problem getting like introduced back with Gilman. Apparently Gilman doesn't want to hang with him anymore because he almost got killed by him.
Yeah, by the fake one. Is like, man, I just want to hang out with my big dad.
Which is super weird because you would think Gilman would be like,
Oh, it's got to be the real one this time,
yeah,
right?
like once he figures out that he's
it happened
real.
like 4 more times that we haven't read about. I was like, I can't see Thiel.
Exactly. Like if it was like a dream he kept having over and over again, but like one petty little Alpha Legion assassination attempt, and you're just gonna give up on your best friend.
Man, it happened like weekly, and it's like I can't see Thiel anymore. He keeps trying to kill me.
Yeah.
We have Thiel.
He's like, what
still
is he doing?
sergeant, but he has a bunch of other people that were censored at one point, and they're just going around killing demons and shit. They're basically the OG Grey Knights.
What's so funny to me about this is like Thiel is one of those. He's one of those Marines that you're like, you would make a better Primark than your Primark. Because you have.
And he's a fucking sergeant.
Yeah, he's not even like a captain. Yeah, so you have Thiel sitting there, and this is his mindset, right? Like he's like, okay, so the 500 worlds are burning, but Girlyman says they're safe because the inner 5 are safe. And then he keeps sending 1 million people a day to a rock called Calth. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and fight at the other part of the 500 worlds. It's not
I'm gonna
within
away from this
65.
radioactive bullshit.
Yeah, like I'm just actually gonna go kill people that are burning our planets instead of being all weird about it.
Yeah, this is a cool character. So there's a host of people that are under him. I'll just go through them real quick. None of them matter at all.
Yeah, one of them like gets brought up.
Yeah, we have Inviglio.
Yep, that's the one that gets brought up.
Corvin, Drusus, Venus, Gordonius, Laterus, Largus, Navius, Petronius, Venator.
Venator. I literally didn't even know that there were that many Ultramarines.
Yeah, there's a bunch on here. Like, goddamn. Yeah, next we have our word bearers. So we got to open up with the Preacher, Korgalek.
I need to go back and look at like the story with Erebus where he splits the shards at the beginning of Market Calth.
Oh yeah, if he got one of them.
Yeah, Korgalek. All the word bearers' names sound so fucking similar.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I want to say he was kind of important. I don't remember if we've ever met him before.
Yeah, I don't know. We have Zanette Sewell.
So Zanette Sewell is under Korgalek.
Yes. I feel like Zanette Sewell we saw before, though. His name seems super familiar for some reason.
Yeah, it sounds like a word bearer name. Because then, like, underneath him, supposedly, was Elias.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Zanette Sewell's just called the Unburdened on here. So I don't even know what his fucking title is.
Yeah, Unburdened means that you're, like, half demon.
Yeah, but not Gavor back.
Yeah, you're not Gavor back. You're like, there's a difference. I don't know what the difference is.
Gav Warback had Argal Taun were respectable for like a book.
Now they're all weird. Yeah.
Yeah. The Gat is next. He is the sergeant on the Monarchia.
He's supposed to be like a badass fighter.
Sure. Then we have our boy Narek. Next, we go to our Death Guard friends. We have Malig Lastigon. He is the commander of the ship.
His importance value is very low, in my opinion.
the entire Death Guard part of this book is very low to me. And
Yeah.
why they even threw the Death Guard in this book is beyond me. I would have been fine if it was just word bearers the whole time at this point.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I think it's strange too.
Ukteg and Rack. I did not remember anyone named Rack.
I don't know.
Rack is the shipmaster, apparently.
I don't remember Uteg. I actually vaguely remember Rack.
I think Ukteg maybe had been the one that watched Galek for a minute.
He watched. He's a watcher.
I don't even know. And then we have our fellow knight errant, Caspian Hecht.
Caspian Hecht. Let's talk about Caspian Hecht, because he is a very important character. It's really hard to talk about him without going into spoilers.
Yes.
So,
yes, it is.
Obviously, he's a knight errant. We know that Malkador has some say or sway in this. After you finish reading the book, you still have no fucking idea.
No, none.
It makes no sense.
Was there supposed to be another one in this book?
That was also very confusing. So Caspian Hecht, his involvement in the book makes the story very confusing.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Because I don't. It's another one of those things where it's like, did we need this?
I think you did. I'm wondering like where it goes.
Yeah.
And I think like
more of that.
Yeah, it'll probably be important with Narek's story.
I'm so confused by like Narek had to like go like the worst possible place for him. Considering they think that he killed Vulkan. Ends up on Nocturne by himself on a planet that fucking sucks and is probably going to try to kill him as well.
Yeah, also Narek's motives
Make no sense.
changed. Yeah, because at one point it talks about how he had like a. Did it say that he had like an urge to kill the Primarch, to kill Vulkan?
Yes, and I don't understand why.
Narek doesn't give a shit. I am wondering though if it was Hecht.
Sent to kill Vulkan?
So I think we got to talk about this. We're going to have to talk a little bit about this. How much time do we have left?
About 12 minutes.
12 minutes? Okay. So Narek is Malkador's knight errant. No, sorry, Hecht is. Hecht is Malkador's knight errant.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, he was sent by Malkador not to kill Narek, but to wipe his memory?
Maybe.
That's what was said.
Okay, sure.
To wipe his memory. Why Malkador wants to wipe Narek's memory is beyond me.
Man, I literally have no idea what the fuck that storyline was.
so yeah, he's supposed to go ahead.
No, it's a spoiler question. I'm just so fucking confused right now.
We'll get into it. I mean, all we need to know is that Vulkan lives.
He does live.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Nocturne again and some of the weirdest shit. Nocturne has dragons living underneath the ground, just like everywhere.
Yeah, apparently. And sometimes they just fuck off. Like they'll just go kill some things and just fuck off. Like there's still like a battle's going on. Like, meh, that part doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, they'll just go live underground for like ever. And then if you make too much noise, they'll try and kill you or something. It's very strange.
You fucking disturbed my sleep, you motherfucker.
Yeah, Nocturne's an interesting place. I'd like to read more about it. I don't know. I think this book, because of how much they say Vulkan lives, I don't like Numian's character, but I also do like Numian's character. Like, I don't like Numian, but I don't like what happens to Numian in the end. It's very weird.
Yeah, that part doesn't make sense to me, and some
It's kind of
decision
pointless.
making doesn't make sense to me.
Yes. I will also say one thing I really hate about this book is like the decisions that they make are oftentimes influenced by things that aren't explained very well.
No.
Like visions that like or like some sort of like religious mantra, essentially. Where like for instance, like Numian will try to convince somebody that Vulcan lives. And he's like, well, remember that vision you had of a mountain? And then this guy's like, oh my God, you're right. Vulcan lives. And it's like, wait, what? How does that? And they're like, now, since you've had that vision of the mountain, you can traverse the warp.
Yeah, well, I was so confused by like, so how in my head I was imagining what they were gonna do. It's like that they were just gonna put like an Olympic type torch on the front of the ship and fall and like so that they could see or some shit.
That's the dumbest shit. Oh my God.
That's would that have surprised you though?
Yes.
I still don't know what the fuck they were following.
Yeah, it was all a little strange. There were a lot of decisions that they could have made that would have made it better, made more sense. Could have not had to write the book.
That's a big
Those
one.
kind of things. Those kind of things. And I think it was interesting. Oh, what was your how much did you enjoy this book?
Enjoyment. Probably like a 5 or 6. There was like some like cool parts. I actually enjoyed like Thiel stuff. I enjoyed the like fights were actually like well written.
Yeah.
The warp stuff was interesting.
They did a very good job. I think Nick Kyme actually did a decent job of writing like some horror. There's some
Yes.
horror aspects in this, and it was pretty good.
I liked how like a lot of the characters had like several different like perspectives of things.
Yeah, but everybody.
Yeah, it was a lot, and there was a lot of characters, and it was a long book. I think if this was like 200 page shorter, I would have liked it more, and more of like I could care less about like how long like, they were doing some things. Like they could have honestly cut out a
The
lot of
first
shit.
warp jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go into the warp like 3 times. Because the big thing about this book too is like, yeah, they're traveling back to Nocturne, but you have to remember the ruin storm happening. So like, it's supposed to block out all travel. And the Salamander's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Like they could have like had Hecht on Ultramar and just like had him on board from there. It ignored the entire Death Guard part, and I would have been slightly happier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't explain too much about how that story gets set up.
Yeah, I still don't know why the fucking Death Guard are in this book.
The Death Guard. Oh yeah, so I
Like, why were they
did.
even like near Ultramar? Like they aren't
Yeah,
fucking around over there.
I give this book about a 5 for personal enjoyment. I think I remember listening to this in the audiobook, and it was the way the timer worked. It was like a number of minutes. It was like
Yes,
916
it
minutes.
was a lot.
And I remember I was listening to it, and I was at like 850. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have 10 more minutes to get to the 9. I was thinking like in terms of like minutes to hours. I was like, finally, it's almost over. And then it went to like 861. I was like, oh my fucking God, you're serious? I have almost an entire hour left of this book. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
And,
it's like several points. I'm like, where is this still going? Like, how
and
is
then
this not over?
they had an entire like battle with a Death Guard that was completely pointless.
Yeah.
Like completely, it was silly. There's none to it. So I give it a 5. Points to heresy. Unfortunately, there's nothing in this book that is important to the heresy except for the last page.
Yeah. And even
And
then, you could probably get to Old Earth, and I would assume it would pick up right where that is.
yeah, I think a lot of it depends on Narek's story with how important it is. I don't know how important Narek gets. I don't know how important that story arc is. You know, this doesn't touch on the perpetuals. You know, we get a little bit of Magnus. I doubt it's going to come to fruition with anything with that, but like, yeah, I think that's interesting.
You know, I really hope their path that they made leads them back to Terra. That would fucking suck.
Yeah, it is very important to the heresy in terms of the last page, but you could skip that. You could surmise. What do you think happens on the last page, Dylan?
Does Vulkan live?
No.
Did I read a 600-page book telling me 317 times that Vulkan lives and he doesn't live until the last page?
Yeah, they really stretch it out. And then you have Nurek's story. So I would kind of surmise it around like this is kind of normally importance to heresy is either like a 10 or a 0. And this one's kind of like
It could be important. We don't know. I feel like Narek is not going to be on Terra, so I don't think his story is going to be anything too wild.
Yeah.
So I think that lowers it for me. Probably like a 3. Because it might be worth knowing like what happened to Numion, assuming say it doesn't get mentioned. They just God and Vulkan appears. That'd be weird. That's probably it.
I think that's it. I think that's a good intro. And I'm actually very excited to talk about. I'm excited for the next episode because I think there's a lot of really cool scenes to talk about and dig into and try and figure out like what the fuck is going on. Like what
I can't wait to talk about some decision making because man, there's like one I'm like, this makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
All right, so we'll just get this one a few minutes short. Guys, hit us up on the Discord. It's a lot of fun. It looks like we have some more meetups coming up soon. Check them out. They're a good time. Yeah, just sit around, talk, build shit together. It's a good time. Go to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. You'll find our Discord pinned up there. You can always email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. Hit us up on the YouTube. Also like and subscribe. And if you feel like contributing to the podcast at all, please feel free to do that. We have tips enabled on Twitter. And with that, you guys have a good one. And that's it.